Welcome back to my podcast. We go back to 1958, when Dr. J. Harlan Bretz had not yet been vindicated, and the Adam and Eve story would not be published for another 8 years. That year, Albert Einstein unexpectedly received a draft paper on Earth physics written by Charles H. Hapgood, a scholar and professor of geology and history at Harvard University. Hapgood presented a unique viewpoint. He disagreed with the theory of continental drift and favored the theory of crustal displacement. This concept actually reflects the difference between catastrophism, which emphasizes sudden changes, and evolutionism, which emphasizes gradual changes. Meanwhile, the theory of continental drift, a complement to evolutionism, suggests that continental plates slowly and continuously move from the supercontinent Pangaea 330 million years ago to today's geographic formations. However, volcanologists and geologists studying the mid-ocean ridges and volcanic belts from the Pacific to the Himalayas have not found sufficient evidence to support the driving forces behind continental drift. Additionally, from a thermodynamics perspective, this type of constant, steady drift over hundreds of millions of years is difficult to explain unless the Earth's interior could maintain a constant temperature like a refrigerator. This involves the Earth's internal nuclear physics and thermodynamics, areas in which Einstein excelled. Therefore, Professor Hapgood wrote to Einstein, seeking guidance from the great scientist. Regarding the theory of crustal displacement, Hapgood proposed this as a new theory to address the shortcomings of continental drift. He believed that today's geographic plates are not the result of slow, gradual processes over 330 million years, but rather from several or many dramatic shifts, similar to the Earth's ice ages. During periods of very high temperatures at the Earth's core, the crust undergoes severe collisions and shifts, leading to a reformation of the world. After such dramatic changes, the crustal plates stabilize again, waiting for the next great shift. For example, the movie 2012 was inspired by Professor Hapgood's theory of crustal displacement. In the film, the characters attempt an emergency landing in the South China Sea when their plane is running out of fuel. Just before landing, the pilot excitedly announces that due to crustal displacement, the Himalayas have moved 3,000 kilometers eastward and are now located above the South China Sea, allowing them to land directly on the mountains. Many viewers might not have understood this part, but it reflects the catastrophism described by Hapgood, similar to the theories proposed by the French naturalist Georges Cuvier. Hapgood believed that civilizations and species periodically undergo destruction and rebirth due to such sudden, massive changes. Additionally, Hapgood identified the driving force behind these crustal shifts as the tilting of the Earth's axis. But why would the Earth's axis tilt? This involves complex issues related to the Earth's magnetic field, geophysics, and thermodynamics, areas in which Einstein specialized. Thus, Hapgood sought Einstein's help to validate whether his theory about the axis tilt was more plausible than the theory of continental drift and others. After reviewing the theory, Einstein believed that from a geophysical perspective, crustal displacement was indeed more plausible than continental drift. Consequently, Einstein wrote a foreword for Hapgood's study, helping to publish the book titled Earth's Shifting Crust. However, despite Einstein's support, the crustal displacement theory was quickly labeled as pseudoscience, while the theory of continental drift was rapidly incorporated into textbooks. It's noteworthy that the theory of continental drift had been forgotten for many years. It was initially proposed by the Dutch cartographer Abraham Ortelius in 1596, and later revived by the German explorer Alfred Lothar Wegener in 1912 while he was recuperating. Wegener noticed that the edges of the continents could be neatly joined together on a map, which inspired him to suggest the hypothesis that the continents were once united and had gradually drifted apart. Clearly, using maps to infer changes in Earth's physics is not very reliable. However, after Hapgood and Einstein supported the theory of crustal displacement, this theory seemed to come close to representing real Earth dynamics. Yet, just as their theory was gaining recognition, the crustal displacement theory was unexpectedly shelved, and the continental drift theory was suddenly pushed to the forefront, leading to various speculations. What exactly did they discover? In 1966, an even more shocking event occurred. The CIA suddenly banned the Adam and Eve story. After the book was declassified in 2013, it was revealed that it summarized all the clues and assertions of catastrophism from Cuvier to Hapgood's time in the form of a novel, seemingly revealing the secrets of the biblical flood in advance. When I first read the Adam and Eve story, the descriptions of supersonic winds also confused me. However, upon opening the book, there was a diagram on the title page that is central to the entire book, reinforcing the theory of crustal displacement, or rather, the theory of axial displacement. Only 57 pages of the book were declassified, while the original is said to be 284 pages long, making the descriptions of axial tilt quite complex. But if we integrate Hapgood's crustal displacement theory, we can hypothesize how the author explains the principle of axial displacement. First, the book describes a layer of molten material between Earth's crust and mantle, similar to a non-Newtonian fluid, which behaves differently under different pressures. Next, the book mentions that the fluidity of this molten layer is closely related to shifts in the Earth's magnetic field. Within a certain magnetic range, it acts as a rigid solid, helping to stabilize the core. However, once the magnetic shift reaches a certain threshold, this layer loses its rigidity and becomes fluid, like a liquid. This instability in the crust could lead to a drastic tilt of up to 90 degrees within just 6 to 12 hours due to the inertia of Earth's rotation. This severe shift would cause new poles to appear in places like Peru and the Bay of Bengal, while the old poles would move close to the equator. This indeed sounds incredible, doesn't it? Imagine the Earth as a fast spinning top with a layer of glue holding together its core and outer shell. However, at a certain critical point, this glue suddenly loses its stickiness. Although the core continues to spin rapidly, the surface crust becomes unevenly sticky, causing some areas to become chaotic, collide, and rearrange. This is why, in the movie 2012, the Himalayas appear in the South China Sea. However, the description in the Adam and Eve story is more exaggerated than Hapgood's theory of crustal displacement. It's not just about the Himalayas shifting 20 or 30 degrees to the South China Sea. Instead, within just 6 to 12 hours, the crust shifts by 90 degrees, moving the Himalayas and surrounding areas to where Greenland is today. This drastic change in the crust also affects the Earth's atmosphere, which cannot stop moving immediately due to inertia. The so-called rotation of the Earth, traveling 80,000 miles a day while sitting, actually means we appear still, but the crust, core, and atmosphere are still moving at high speed. When the crust stops moving, the core and atmosphere continue to rotate at their original speed, creating supersonic winds. These winds accompany the restructuring of the crust, turning mountains into seas, with lava eruptions reshaping the Earth's surface. This physical description might seem complex, but it can be simplified. The movie 2012 was filmed based on this theory, and the Adam and Eve story can be seen as an enhanced version of 2012. In 2012, the Himalayas moved to the South China Sea within about 12 hours, while in the Adam and Eve story, it only takes 6 hours for the Himalayas to reach the Arctic, accompanied by supersonic winds, making it difficult to escape the apocalyptic disaster, even in a giant transport plane. In the next episode, we will continue to explore the disasters described in other regions in the Adam and Eve story. That's that's all for today's podcast. Thank you for listening. If you liked this episode, please like and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.